Strap on the boots and scrape up the knuckles.
Oh, what a hit!
He got jacked.
This is the Big Red Rage, presented by Santan, Ford & Gilbert.
Murray's gonna score! Touchdown! Slammed to the ground by Budda Baker. Like a torpedo, he came flying into the backfield.
The Rage is brought to you by Santan, Ford & Gilbert. Right on the price, right on the corner of the Santan 202 freeway in Val Vista.
What a grab by Trey McBride. That was spectacular.
And by Arizona Cardinals Podcasts. Visit azcardinals.com/podcast.
The Red Sea is rising up.
Temperature rising, vision blurring, rage taking over.
Here's Paul Calvisi.
I'm ready. I'm 100% ready. I'm telling you I'm ready.
And Ron Wolfley.
It doesn't get any better than that.
Unleash the fury!
The focus is always on football, even into the bye week. Even though before the last game, the buzz was all about Blake Shelton and Gwen Stefani, at least that's all Wolf was talking about for the last game against the Jets. After the game, speaking of buzz, the buzz now is all about the first-place Cardinals. Is it not? A 4-game winning streak, a first-place standing, NFC Offensive Player of the Week. All of a sudden, the buzz is building nationally. Is it not? While we, at the same time, pity the poor Jets. Did you guys hear what Jeff Ulbrich, the interim head coach, did after the Cardinals broke 20 tackles, according to Next Gen Stats? He ordered full pads on Wednesday and Thursday for Jets practice.
That'll do it, Bolling.
They're going to practice tackling in Week 11 while the Cardinals enjoy the bye weekend. Welcome into the Big Red Rage, presented by Santan, Ford & Gilbert. Paul Calvisi here, Ron Wolfley there, and the one and only Markus Golden in studio, the former Cardinals great.
Yes. Royalty.
Yes, thanks, fellas. You know it's always good to be in here with y'all, man, and I'm happy to be here today. Let's get it.
Thank you so much, Junk. We really appreciate it.
What'd you look forward to the most? In your playing days, you just wrapped up a decade in the NFL. You had 3 double-digit sack seasons. But when it came to bye weekend, what did you look forward to the most?
Yes, that's a great question, man, because especially when we got a late bye week this week. It seemed like a super late bye week. So when you play all these weeks and you grind it out each week, you just want to relax. Me, that's one thing I wanted to do. I wanted to relax, just sit back, probably still, of course, you got to still do your job and study football, but at the end of the day, I just wanted to make sure I get to Friday or whatever day we was going to get a break and just relax.
So, Junk, you weren't big on the, hey, let's go to Cabo. Is that you weren't big on that, or?
You know how it is when you're young. When you're young, you get into the NFL, you get a break. You want to go to Cabo or go out of town, have a little fun. But as I got older, I was more of like, hey, let me chill out, hang out with the family. But I had my days back in my younger days where I would have went to Cabo for sure.
Wolf, true or false? The bye week came at a good time.
Yes, I think true, Paulie. I really do. I know there's a lot of people out there that will talk about, hey, they won 4 games in a row right now. Listen, when you're 2-4 and then you win 4 games in a row and you get to 6-4 right now, I think at some point in time, especially when you might be a surprise in the National Football League, I think you need to let the dust settle a little bit and really understand, hey, why were we 2-4? What was the situation that allowed us to be 2-4 on the season? And then all of a sudden we started winning games. And now we're 6-4. How did we get to 6-4? I think as long as you keep yourself in check, Paulie, I think it's a good thing to allow the dust to settle on 10 games that you've played and the fact that you're in first place in the NFC West. And then you can also look and say, hey, listen, we got 7 games left. What is it going to take from me for me to do my job and to help us win games?
4 straight wins, 5 out of 6. Here's the head coach, Jonathan Gannon. Do you think he's pleased with how the Cardinals are playing? You betcha.
I think the thing that's consistent with our team is how we play. I think you got to control yourself first, and I'm pleased with how we're playing right now. I talk about that being our mode of play, but the effort, the motor, the finish, the violence, the hitting, I think there's a way to play this game, and that can give you a chance to win a bunch of games if that part is right and everybody's doing it. And all 3 phases are doing it.
Markus Golden, when you watch the Cardinals and the brand of ball they're putting out there in year 2 under Jonathan Gannon, what jumps out to you the most?
Yes, really exactly what Coach was saying, man. Just that hard-nosed football, playing together, everybody working hard together and getting it done, doing whatever we got to do to get a win. And that's what exactly jumps out for me on tape when I watch the Cardinals this season, is that they're playing hard and they're going to do whatever they got to do to get out there and try to get the win.
How far does physicality go? If you're winning the battle of physicality, how often does that mean you're winning a game in the NFL?
Hey, that's big time, especially when you – and I always got to go to James when we talk about physicality of the Cardinals. The way he's running the ball, the way he's even catching the ball out the backfield and running through guys, I feel like that sets the tone. So when you got that type of momentum and plus you're winning and making plays, that's big time, and I feel like that got a lot to do with the team momentum.
One of those, just listening to you talk about that, it reminds me of how well the Arizona Cardinals ran the ball. Yeah. And I'm not talking about Trey McBride running the ball, even though that's awesome to see him doing that. I'm not talking about Kyler Murray pulling it down, Paulie, and running the ball. I'm talking about a football team that snaps the ball to the quarterback, and the quarterback hands the ball off to a running back. What happens more times than not when you hand the ball off to a running back? How are you guys doing? Well, you think of the Arizona Cardinals. You had James Conner, you had Trey Benson, you had Amari DiMercato, and you had DJ Dallas. You had those 4 guys carry the ball 28 times in this game for 127 yards.
Yes.
And it wasn't like they were ripping off 50-yard runs. They were brutal runs. It's an average of 4.5 yards per carry. That, to me, tells me that the offensive line and the Arizona Cardinals consistently were able to move the ball and run the ball every time they handed it off to a running back. And that, to me, matters. The how you win matters.
You can sense it. You can feel it in the locker room. You can hear it in what guys say. Kyler Murray had a comment after the game that they didn't feel like there was anything the Jets could throw at them that they couldn't navigate and they couldn't still advance the ball down the field. It's that team confidence. It's just that sense. And Trey McBride talked about that and where they are right now at 6-4.
I feel like we're one play away from beating the Bills. Week 1, we had a couple really close games early on, and we had a couple mishaps as well. So I feel like we're really close early on, and we were just missing it by a little bit. And then now, we kind of get rolling a little bit. Now we're winning 3-4 in a row, and just continue and expect that to happen and continue to happen because the work we put in and the process that we have has been very effective.
We talked in the month of August about separation season. That's when it comes to the roster and players, guys separating themselves, getting a roster. Yep. To me, in an NFL season, right now between Halloween and Thanksgiving is separation season because you see teams ascend or you see teams just discombobulate. The Cardinals are lamenting 2 incompletions, trying to figure out what happened on the one miscommunication, the very first incompletion of the game. While the Chicago Bears, for example, the Cardinals' opponent 2 weeks ago, hasn't scored a touchdown in its last 23 possessions. Dang. Okay, wow. There's the haves and have-nots. Yeah. And just where the Cardinals are right now, just fine-tuning, Marcus, right? I mean, there's nothing glaring, knock on wood, that's wrong. Yeah. You're just trying to fine-tune your game right now, are you not?
Yes, that's like exactly what you're saying. It's like you fine-tuning your game, but you got the guys. And not Trey McBride, he the guy talking, and everything he say I can feel because he going out there and showing it by the way he play. And that's I think about it, like I got to bring that up. That big-time play he had, he broke the tackle, jumps over a guy steady going. Like, that's like you playing like you know that your team can win. And he brought that up, and they got to keep doing that. And they going out there each week, and they're actually playing and believing. You can see from watching that they believe that they can win each game that they step on the field.
We were talking after the game about how it looks like the first and second-year players have elevated their game.
Oh, yeah.
Look, Trey McBride's going to bring it, James Conner, Kaiser White, Budda Baker, Kyler Murray. But it looks like a lot of the younger guys have elevated their game. And that, to me, is the rising tide that's lifting this entire team.
You're exactly right, Paulie, right there. That's the most encouraging thing about the Arizona Cardinals at the bye right now, 6-4. And on top of the NFC West, it is the young guys on this team. The first-year players, the rookies, and the second-year guys. And how much better they've gotten, the second-year guys. And they're developing. And, Paul, because they're in the process of developing and getting better, That's why I think the Arizona Cardinals got off to a 2-4 start. That and the fact, of course, that they were playing a very tough schedule early on in the season. But that and the fact that these guys are growing and developing, that's the reason why they've turned this around. Because those guys are at the heart of them winning games. Guys like Garrett Williams, guys like Paris Johnson Jr., year number 2 right now, settling down that left tackle. How important was that? That was a big question mark coming into the season. We were all wondering, how is Paris Johnson Jr. going to hold up as a left tackle? He was a right tackle, played every snap the year before that. How's he going to hold up at left tackle right now? Paris Johnson Jr., he's looking like he's going to be your franchise tackle for over a decade.
Yes, he is.
You mentioned Garrett Williams. Look at the other 2 young corners, Starling Thomas, Max Melton. I mean, look, Marcus, you rush the passer for a living, okay? So let me ask you, after the game, we asked how many different looks did they throw at Aaron Rodgers, and Jonathan Gannon said, we threw the bucket at him. That was his quote.
Yes.
Well, you can't do that unless you can trust your corners, correct?
Yes, and then and like you said, those young guys are standing out a lot because I did see they was throwing a lot at the Jets this week, and those corners, they stood big back there. You got guys like Budda Baker, JT back there. You know the young guys listening to them. So, and it goes back to what you're saying. The stars are doing a great job in stepping it up, but these other players to have a great team, you need the other players that's not stars to really step it up and carry the team. And that's what I've been seeing the last few weeks.
I mean, think about it. 12 different guys got a pressure last week on the Cardinals defense.
Yes.
The week before, 16 different players. They just keep dialing it up, and the team just keeps fine-tuning and improving, and all of a sudden they're winning games, and it's not close.
Yeah.
So now you have to deal with a bye, and the question to Paris Johnson Jr., all right, is the bye week, is it coming at a good time or a bad time?
Kind of wish we kind of keep going, you know what I mean? Because you're already in a rhythm. You're in a rhythm, you're in your routine. But, you know, I know we'll be able to come back together, be able to get back into our process, and we'll be able to pick up where we left off and, you know, start to how we come back to practice when we all come back together.
See, can I just jump in here, Paulie, and say this right now? Just listening to Paris Johnson Jr. and that cut. The thing I love about this football team, they got dogs, Paul.
Yes.
They got a lot of dogs inside that locker room, Marcus, and you know that, how important that is. I think it's coming at a great time, and the reason why I say the bye's coming at a great time is because they got dogs inside the locker room who are going to come back and be dogs.
Yes.
They're not going to suddenly turn into cats. They're going to be dogs. And because of that, guys like Paris Johnson Jr., I don't think he's going to get complacent. I don't think anybody inside that locker room is going to get complacent because they're not going to let him. The dogs inside that locker room aren't going to let anybody get complacent.
I mean, think about your head coach. They just did an off-season study on momentum. This just in. He doesn't really believe in momentum.
Yeah.
So I don't think he really fears the bye week. Not when he sets the standard, not when he applies the accountability. Wolf, we do his TV show.
Yeah.
They have a 4-game winning streak, Marcus.
Yeah.
And he shares with us on the TV show that every Monday meeting, he holds guys accountable, maybe even more so in a win.
Yeah.
And you're going to hear your name called in front of the entire team. If he notices you're up there on film with a loaf or a mental error, and I just think that's the sort of thing, combined with players like James Conner and Budda Baker, and Kaiser White, the team captains holding guys accountable.
Yep.
That's why you're seeing this consistency. And then you have the quarterback, who might have been the toughest player on the field based on the hit he took. We'll talk about him next on the Big Red Rage, presented by Santan Ford in Gilbert.
Murray under center takes his play action, a boot to the left, and Murray going to keep it. He walks into the end zone for a touchdown. Kyler Murray with maybe the easiest touchdown run of his career. Snap to Murray, drop straight back, a fade, right corner of the end zone. Harrison, oh, what a catch for a touchdown! Marvin Harrison Jr. hauls it in. Just a gorgeous drop in the bucket by Murray.
Spin the pig, Kyler! A dime being dropped into the buckets, right over the shoulder of Marvin Harrison Jr.
Snap to Murray, and he's going to keep it, running right to the outside 10, stays in bounds at the 5 and into the end zone for his second touchdown. Then he takes the football and hoists it into the casita. Kyler Murray A dominant performance here today, and it's 30-6 Arizona.
So he had as many touchdown runs as he had incompletions. Is that good?
That's good, Paulie.
Good enough to be named NFC Offensive Player of the Week. That was the honor that came his way. And you know what? I mean, it doesn't just stop there with the 2 touchdown runs. 22 of 24, 266 through the air, touchdown through the air. You heard that. No picks. The ball security's been phenomenal. We'll get into that. 126.7 the passer rating. And, oh, by the way, 17 straight completions is how he ended the game. A new team record, bettering Kurt Warner, the Hall of Famer. It is the Big Red Rage presented by Santan, Ford & Gilbert, Paul Calvisi, Ron Wolfley, and Markus Golden. Before we get into the hit he absorbed, let's just talk about what he put in the box score and what you saw. As a guy who studied quarterbacks for a living, what stood out to you, not maybe this game, maybe this month, about Kyler Murray?
Yes, like you said, anytime you're able to mention Kurt Warner and saying you broke somebody's record like that, then you know what type of how you've been playing this season. He's been playing unbelievable. Really, I say he's been showing why he's been drafted number 1 overall. When you get drafted that high, you expect to come make a franchise better, and he's showing that this year. And it's exciting to see, especially for me as a former player, but also just as a fan, man. It's exciting to see him doing that. And he out there balling. He went 22 for 24 out of 24, like you said, touchdown, 2 rushing touchdowns, and got player of the week. So he out there putting the work in, and it feels good to see it because he's out there making the whole team better. That's what you can tell.
And by the way, he did it against the number 2 passing defense in the league.
Once again.
Yeah, just like
once again.
Miami
was number 1 in terms of yards per game allowed, passing yards per game allowed, number 1. It's just like the Chargers. Think how tough the Chargers
number 1 scoring
number 1 scoring defense in the league. And then it was the Dolphins. I mean, it's just amazing to see this 4 games in a row against really good defenses. The Chicago Bears, the number 3 defensive quarterback rated team in the league.
Yes.
Very, very difficult to actually throw the ball against the Bears. Look, the Arizona Cardinals right now have gone through a bit of a gauntlet. 4 games against really good defenses. The last 4 games. And now they're sitting here 6-4. Something is happening, Paul.
Yes.
Something is happening to this team, offensively, defensively, and in transition with special teams as well. But Kyler Murray is right at the center of that something.
Yes.
Right after the 31-6 win, here's Kyler Murray at the podium with the media on the success of the passing game in particular.
Guys did a hell of a job up front. My job, just put the ball in their hands and let them do what they do. And try to get completions. That's what I did today. That's I try to just keep it as simple as possible. And the guys, they made plays. They made plays for me all day. And it's great to go out there and feel the way we felt today, to be able to execute.
The fact that he was at the podium and not in the hospital is remarkable, considering the hit he took. That blindside sack. From the sideline, it looked like a pedestrian who got hit in the crosswalk by a pickup truck. That's how hard he got hit. What's the hardest you ever hit a quarterback, Markus Golden? Is there an answer to that question?
That's a good question, man. A few come to mind when I think about it, man. But one particular, I actually came off the edge free, and Baker Mayfield was right there standing there looking for me. I crushed him. I wanted to get the ball. I thought I hit him in the head, but I was looking up like, man, if they finna throw a flag, thankfully I ain't get a flag, but that was a pretty good hit.
So was
right
Baker
there.
Mayfield.
Yeah.
Did you back shot? Did you whack his?
Yeah, I whacked him. No, it was he was like this, and I just came from the side, hit him. I should have just scripted the ball, man. I was trying to get a good hit on him, but I was glad I didn't get that flag.
Can you hear the air come out of a quarterback when you hit him that hard?
Yes. Especially, man, when you catch him blindside and you coming free, you can feel it, man. And you pray for those type of shots when you on any quarterback. So, Kyler, man, but he got back up. He got right back up, picked his helmet up, had a smile on his face, and was ready to go, man, and finished the game strong.
Well, here's what the head coach had to say. We asked him to assess Kyler Murray, especially the game he put out there and the hit he took.
I haven't seen all the other games, but if there is a better player on the planet, you better show me, because I thought he was the best player on the planet today.
Jonathan Gannon, let that hang in the air for a moment. And Wolf, you know this probably better than either one of us combined, because you got your finger on the pulse of what's being said nationally this week. Isn't Kyler Murray getting a lot of discussion for being right there in the MVP race?
Yes. There is a lot of people that are talking about Kyler Murray as an MVP right now. Once again, when you look at the power polls, the Arizona Cardinals. And I'm not big on a power poll. I'm not. Yeah. But you know what? There are analysts and pundits that are out there, and most entities have the Arizona Cardinals in the top 10 in their power polls. I'm talking about, the Arizona Cardinals at 6-4. You know why that is? Yeah. It's because of Kyler Murray right now. And let me just go back to the hit. I think it's a still point moment in Kyler Murray's career. I'm talking about this. One of the reasons why for Kyler, you can't get hit any harder than he got hit. You can't. No. Your helmet rolled 10 yards. You got landed on as well. Blindsided. Just got the back waxed. And yet, you know what? Your teammates saw that as well. Yeah. And then they saw you get up with a wry smile on your face. And I think I know why he was smiling, but I'll get to that momentarily. They saw you get up with a smile on your face and throw a touchdown pass to Marvin Harrison Jr. just a couple of plays after that. That, to me, is saying, I'm here. I'm going to take the most vicious hit I've ever taken in my life, and I don't care. I'm going to get up, and I'm going to go ahead and throw a touchdown pass that was dropping a dime. Yes. And his teammates saw that as well. And that is really, really important. The resiliency and the toughness to take that hit and then get up and finish the game the way that he did. Oh, man, that's going to pay off big.
All right, we're going to hear from Trey McBride. Then I want to hear why you think he was smiling. Here's Trey McBride on Kyler Murray and his play this season.
Elite, man. The guy is zoned in. He's locked in. You know, you can just kind of tell he's got that look in his eye, and when he's in that mode, he's unstoppable. You know, I'm kind of irritated. I dropped that ball in the end zone. He could have had almost a dang perfect game besides that first play. So that makes me sick that I dropped that ball for him. But he's playing at a really high level right now. I'm excited for him, and I'm excited to continue to grow with him.
And again, after he took that, by the way, that was the second fastest sack this year, 2.24 seconds, Quincy Williams, according to Next Gen Stats. So that was instantaneous. Wolf, why do you think he was smiling?
For me, Paulie, I think it's a situation where, that had to be a nightmare for him. Yeah. All of he's never been hit like that. Have you ever seen him hit like that?
Oh, not even
anywhere
close.
Even close, right? Nothing.
Nobody can get a clean shot on him most of the time.
Exactly right. And I think it happened. It finally happened. His worst nightmare, maybe, of how he might be hit, and it happened, and his helmet rolled, once again, 10 yards. Yeah. And he got up and said, you know what? I can't face anything worse than that. Yeah. And he was smiling. And that to me, means he accepts it and moves on with his career. You know me, Paul. I might read into this stuff a little bit too much. I might do that. And I freely admit it. As a former wedge buster, the physicality of it, and actually going through all of that. I remember what it was like to bust a wedge for the first time. And the fear that I had going into this thing, it was incredible. You're hitting a man who's 340 pounds in the wedge, and you're hitting him right in the face on a dead sprint. That's got to hurt. Guess what? It didn't. And it made me smile once I put that quote-unquote demon to rest. And I'm wondering if he did the exact same thing.
Yes.
You guys played 2 decades. I get it, okay? I might not know much, but I'm pretty sure I know this much. If you have that guy at that position, you don't have to have the NFL's best roster to advance deep into the postseason. Joe Burrow did it a couple of years ago. Yep. Heck, Patrick Mahomes last year. Did he have the best set of weapons and receivers last year? Absolutely not. 2015 was your rookie year. Carson Palmer had a Pro Bowl season, did he not? He did. How big was that, just elevating? When you have that guy, and then what's the belief in the locker room, Marcus, when you know you have that guy?
Yes. Like you said, started with 2015. I hate you had to bring that one up. That's the closest I got to winning the Super Bowl. But, man, that was some good times. When you got a quarterback, though, like Carson back then, that was the best quarterback I had for a long time until I probably got to play back with Kyler Murray. But Carson, man, he was a beast, a leader. You knew when you stepped on that field, hey, my quarterback is going to go out there and give me a chance to win. So if you got a bunch of guys in the locker room who know the quarterback is going to go out there, push the ball down the field, and put points on the board, they give you no choice but to be happy and go out there and know you can hunt because we got a chance to go out there and win a game.
And what's different for me with Kyler this year is the ability, the different ways he's able to win some of these games.
Yes.
There are games where he's had 2 carries for 6 yards. There's games where he has a 50-yard touchdown run, 44-yard touchdown run. Then there's games where he sits in the pocket. And when he does sit in the pocket, doesn't he look a little more comfortable this year than years past? Would you guys agree with that?
Yes, I do. It looked like, and I've been watching, just from watching the last few games this season, it just looked like he in control. He looked like he in control, and it goes back to knowing what your quarterback can do. Watching him every time we get on the field on offense, it looks like, hey, we got a chance to score. And when you're a quarterback like that you know, man, we got a chance to score every time he get on the field, man. That's gonna bring the whole team together and get everybody going.
And it's also part of the process right now with him going under center and using play action.
Yes.
A lot of times you got to hook up in that pocket and you got to be able to throw the ball over the middle of the field. And that's what he's been doing as well.
Yes.
So to me, it's all part of the process, and he's getting reps, and I think he's getting more comfortable because of it.
I think we all saw him throw the ball into the casitas. That was great stuff. Guess what? You can learn more about Cardinals single-game tickets, premium seating, the group tickets, the all-new luxury field seating experiences today. Just go to azcardinals.com/tickets. All right, defense has been balling. We'll talk about them next in the Big Red Rage presented by Santan Ford in Gilbert.
Rodgers backpedaling from the pocket, and Rodgers is sacked. The ball came out. Rodgers, I think, got it back. Lucchetta with the sack, and that forces a punt.
How about that? Surprise! Jesse Lucchetta.
Rodgers drops back, in trouble, moving left, gets hit from behind, ball flutters. It's loose and recovered by the Cardinals at the 10. Xavier Thomas hacking it out, recovered by Kaiser White.
The rookie made a play. Xavier Thomas.
Rodgers takes the snap, blitz coming. Rodgers has no chance. Sacked by Budda Baker for a loss of 8 at the 40-yard line.
Budda Baker came off the edge clean, and Aaron Rodgers got his back waxed.
Budda with his first sack since 2021. How about the last 2 weeks? 9 sacks the last 2 weeks for a Cardinals defense that is absolutely balling, especially at home. That is 4 straight games, right, where the Cardinals defense in the second half, think of this, a second half shutout 4 times now, I should say, in 2024. So Jonathan Gannon, we asked him about halftime adjustments. He said no, there's just always adjustments throughout the entirety of the game. We get it. Here's what else we get, that the Jets on their 6 possessions went field goal, punt. They lost a fumble. They went punt, turnover on downs. So they got absolutely stymied, held out of the end zone. 31-6 is your final. Paul Calvisi, Ron Wolfley here on the Big Red Rage, presented by Santan Ford and Gilbert. And our special guest tonight, former Cardinals defender, a decade in the league, Markus Golden. And so, Marcus, here we go. In your wheelhouse, the pass rush, the defense. You tell us. You've been watching Cardinals football lately. What are you impressed by the most recently?
Man, I'm really impressed a lot. Just off tops, just the coaches is putting the guys in a great position on defense to be able to go out there and make a lot of plays. And those guys are going out there and stepping it up. And all together, when I watch the defense, I always try to watch like how they playing together. How do they look? It's some dogs on the field. Everybody getting to the ball, trying to make plays. And that's what I see. It's like each week is a big play that they make to get the offense the ball and the offense go score. Or just some big play. You can always point out a moment in every game where the defense stepping it up and making big plays. And it's so many guys. It's so many guys. Of course, you got the star, Budda Baker, flying all over the field. But you got all the other guys, like you said, Kaiser, Steele. It's just a lot of guys out there that's stepping it up and making big plays.
You know, for me, Paulie, right now, I see an identity that is starting to form with this defense. And I think that's really, really important. It's not the end-all, be-all, but I think it's important that they have an identity. And the identity is we're not going to give up explosives. That's not what we're going to do. We're not going to give up explosive plays. As a matter of fact, the New York Jets did not have a play that was over 20 yards.
Wow.
20 yards is a big play. 20 yards or more is considered a big play in the National Football League. The longest play was a 15-yard screen pass to Breece Hall. Yep. That was it. They didn't give up any explosives. This is what they've been doing over the last 4 weeks in particular. They are allowing a team to matriculate the ball down the field. If you look at their metrics, they're giving up a lot of yards, whether it's running yards or passing yards. They're not great on third down still. They're not getting off the field. But where they are great is in the red zone.
Yes.
They are jumping teams in the red zone and keeping them out. By way of example, the New York Jets, 0 for 3 in the red zone once again. The Arizona Cardinals right now, would it blow your mind to know they are a top 10 red zone defense right now?
Yes.
Top 10 red zone. Hey, and by the way, we're not talking about week 2, top 10 defense in the red zone. We're talking about week 10.
Yes.
10 games they've played, and Paul, they've really done a great job of trapping teams in the red zone.
Well, think about it. The Jets had a season-low 207 total yards. They had a season-low 151 yards passing. That's with Aaron Rodgers and supposedly one of the best receiver rooms in the league. Here's what Jonathan Gannon had to say about that defensive performance against New York.
When you come into a game like this and you prepare for a quarterback of that caliber with the weapons that they have, you never know how it's kind of going to go. I thought they really stepped up. I liked the plan a lot. It was well executed, and a bunch of guys are making plays, and I thought our mode of play was on display, man. Like, we'll grade the tape hard, but there's not going to be a lot of loafs. Our guys are humming. They're hitting. The hitting is on display. When you do that, you'll give yourself a chance.
You don't have to have the most talented roster in the league to have a sound defense, to have a hard-hitting defense, to have a defense that is always playing at volume 10, right? I mean, on the sideline, I see guys, because they use the rotation. Yeah. You tell me, Marcus, I mean, there are guys that are, I want to, and then when they get the rep, it's a full-blown 100% effort rep because they don't know how many they're getting per game. And to me, that's what I see out there, that effort level.
Yes, I see a lot of that. And it goes back to what Wolf always saying. They got a bunch of dogs out there, man. They got some dogs out there. And when you just said that, guys are standing on the sideline ready to get in. Jesse, he's been called up to step up and make some plays. And it seems like, back-to-back, these last 2 weeks he had a sack each week. He's out there really stepping it up, man, and rushing the passer. And that says a lot. No matter who's on that field, the defense is out there flying around, and the guy on the field believes he can make the play. And then I see that a lot from the whole defense.
And you know what? Let me just jump in here on top of that and just say Budda Baker is an awesome model to have for every guy that is on the field.
Yes.
The fact that Budda Baker is out there flying around. He's the smallest guy on the field week after week after week, and all he does is blow your face off.
Yeah.
That's what he does. And you know what? At some point in time, you've got guys that are watching him, guys that are on the sideline and guys that are actually on the field, his teammate, watching him as well, especially when they go into the film room and they watch that tape and they watch this guy flying around. At some point in time, it challenges every dude who puts a mouth guard in and walks out there on the field with Budda Baker. If he's playing like that, why aren't you?
9 more tackles. He has 100 tackles in 10 games. He's tracking for a career year. Yeah. He's the best open field tackler in the NFL. I'll say it. You can at me if you want. But here's Budda himself on just how the defense has been playing recently and the way they're making it difficult for every opponent.
We just control what we can control. We live through the process. I tell them, separations in the preparation, how we prepare throughout the week. And that's when we know what to do. On Sunday, we have fun, and we control what we can control, take one play at a time, alignment, assignment, key technique, and that's what we do. We're a tight-knit group. We all love each other, and it's definitely special to come out on the field and play with these guys.
I want your analysis here, Marcus, on what the Cardinals are doing to neutralize the opposing receiver rooms. Because the last 3 games are remarkable to me. Miami came in with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Yes. They got some catches, they got some yards, didn't wreck the game, didn't get into the end zone. Yep. Then you go against the Bears, Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Rome Odunze.
Hello.
They didn't wreck the game. And then Devontae Adams and Garrett Williams, 2 really talented Pro Bowl receivers. And they didn't do much of anything to impact the game. So how are the Cardinals neutralizing? Because they're going to go to Seattle next, and we know Seattle's the best part about their team are the 3 receivers.
Yes.
So what's working for the Cardinals in that regard?
I think, like I said before, it got to work with the coach. It start with the coach. What are we going to do to neutralize these guys? You got some of the best players in the world coming in here, and most athletic guys in the world at wide receiver. And we got to put a plan to be able to shut these guys out. After that, it's the players. We got to come together and believe in this plan and go out here and play hard and take these guys away from the game, man. And then you got to add, we keep coming back to Budda, but then you got JT. You got 2 great safeties back back there. So even as the receivers and running and trying to get open, hey, man, I might take a hit from one of them safeties back there. So I think it's just overall playing together, of course, but guys are stepping it up at the right time and making the plays they're supposed to make to cancel those receivers out.
Can you say cover 3?
Yeah.
Can you say cover 3 right
yes,
now?
Exactly.
3 deep.
They are 3 deep, Paulie, 4 underneath. Of course, they're playing really, really well in terms of their zone discipline.
Yes, they are.
And it's not just cover 3 that they're playing, of course, but their coverage, they're buttoned up on the back end. And, everybody seems to be playing the right defense.
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot of times out there where you might have miscommunication, and that's going to shoot you in the foot at some point in time. That is a defensive coordinator's worst nightmare, that you're going to have miscommunication, and there's going to be a mental error. Yep. There's not a lot of mental errors. You don't see a lot of wide receivers running open. Okay, now we have seen it from time to time. You're always going to see that in a season, but, man, not on a regular basis. There haven't been a lot of busted coverages in the secondary.
I look at this Cardinals defense. I look at this Cardinals team. They're not beating themselves.
Yes.
Too often, especially the first month of the season, and I think a lot of it, to your point, Wolf, had to do with a lot of first and second year players. But, different guys taking their one turn to make their one mistake of the game, and it's enough to get you beat.
Yep. Yeah.
That's what I saw in the Jets. Yeah. I saw different guys taking their one turn to make their, and then at the very end of the game on that final failed 4th down, there's Aaron Rodgers with his palms up like, what are you doing? And he's yelling at Garrett Wilson even. And, that's how the Cardinals are getting a competitive advantage. And you can't tell me the coaching, you mentioned the coaching and taking away these receivers, Marcus. To me, again, you don't have to have the most talented roster in the league to just be a sound football team. And when 1, 2, or 3 plays decide the game and you're not beating yourself, to me, that can be the difference in the game.
But, Paulie, you got to find dudes who think that way.
Yes.
And that's where Monty Ossenford and JG, they're on the same page as to what kind of human being they're going to bring in.
Yes.
Let me tell you, is Jonah Williams tracking to return? We don't know, but we know he's been practicing. What about Darius Robinson?
Oh, boy.
Need him back. Excited.
What if you added a game wrecker, at least based on training camp? We'll talk about that next. The Big Red Rage, presented by Santan Ford in Gilbert.
Missouri brings pressure, and they throw Leary down. Darius Robinson.
Here's Brown. And Brown is sacked. He is taken down by Darius Robinson.
2nd and 6. Leary taken down. He couldn't pull the trigger, and Darius Robinson comes up with a sack.
Keep your eye on Darius Robinson. Just simply beats his man one-on-one.
Rattler on 3rd and 6. Pockets collapsing. So is he. It's Darius Robinson that gets home.
Yeah, you can feel his presence. I will say that. He's one of those guys that's like, yeah, you are a first-rounder for a reason. So it's nice to play behind him. His get-off is crazy. His strength is crazy. I think there's more he fine-tunes his game within the scheme of learning the playbook, which is, I feel like he's picking up very well. He's going to be a monster for us.
Let that hang in the air. That's joint practice at Indianapolis in August. That's Chris Barnes, veteran inside linebacker. Players know players. Mm-hmm. And I can tell you right now, that was the consensus in the locker room. Darius Robinson, before he got hurt, what he put out there on the field, what he put out there on the practice film, what he put out there against the Colts, and all-pro guard Quentin Nelson when he jacked him up one-on-one.
Hello.
Yeah.
'Tis the holiday season. You know the gift that would keep on giving for the Arizona Cardinals? The return of Darius Robinson, the first rounder out of Missouri. Paul Calvisi, Ron Wolfley, and Markus Golden. Marcus, did I hear the Mizzou fight song in that montage by Jim Almohandro?
Yes.
I think I did in there a little bit. Yeah.
MIZZOU. D-Line Zoo. Shout out to my Mizzou brother, man. We got to represent for Mizzou, man.
All right, so tell us about your connection with Darius Robinson. It goes back a few years, doesn't it?
Yes, it goes back a few years. I remember I was visiting Mizzou. I think it was it a spring practice? I can't remember. I think it was a spring practice, and I seen a young guy out there, big guy. And I'm like, I asked one of the coaches, who is that kid, man? And he was like, oh, that's Darius Robinson. He gonna be real good, man. He gonna be real good. And I'm like, yeah, man. So I started watching him, checking him out, and eventually we was able to connect and then talk to each other, talk about pass rush moves he can do when he was at Mizzou. And man, he's a beast, man. And to see where he at and going first round, I wasn't surprised, because when I first saw him, I'm like, yeah, he looked like he can do something. And he proved it, that he can get out there and do it, man. And I'm glad to see him here, proud of him.
Now, look, admittedly, I need to go, Paulie, pump my brakes a little bit. Okay, I get it. So, Wolf, what's realistic? All right, if he's healthy in the next 2 or 3 weeks, we honestly don't know. All we know is that Jonathan Gannon, at the end of his postgame press conference, was asked if he's confident Darius Robinson will return to play this season. Quote, "I'm very confident." So that was bullish. But what's realistic, you think, in terms of the impact he can make and how soon?
Oh, Paulie, you're asking the wrong guy, because I think if I had to pick one position this team needs, it's Darius Robinson.
Agreed. Just the injuries alone.
Just the injuries alone, Paulie. But it's not only that. This is a guy that is going to impact an opponent's ability to run the ball. Yeah. He's going to be good in the running game, and he's going to be really good in the passing game as well. And I'm not saying he's going to go out there and suddenly turn into a 3 technique that's going to get 10 sacks the rest of the season. I'm just talking about a guy that can generate pressure, interior pressure, or you can go ahead and stick him out on the edge as well. He can line up in any gap, tackle to tackle. And when you don't know where he might line up, that becomes a problem for an offense, especially if he shows the kind of talent, the kind of burst that we all expect him to right now. He's going to impact the other team's ability to run the ball, and he's going to impact the other team's ability to throw the ball. And that's exactly what this defense needs the most, in my opinion, right now. Somebody's going to stick his hand in the dirt and get dirty.
Yeah.
I was talking to running backs recently. I said, refresh my memory on Darius Robinson. What do you remember from camp? They said, you know what I remember? Getting the handoff in 11 on 11, and he's right in my lap, that he's busting through the interior of the O-line. Marcus, you tell us, if you can get that guy who's that sort of nuisance and penetrating the interior of the O-line, offenses hate that, don't they?
Yes, they hate it a lot, man. Rookie or not, that guy, man, even when I saw him playing in Mizzou, I always like, man, that guy got a motor on him. Mm-hmm. Just he never stops, man. And I watch for guys like that. That's some of my favorite players. So when you play like that, then you got the gifts that he got, man. Big old guy, long arms, can naturally bend the edge or go through a man. The sky's the limit for him, honestly, man, with the abilities that he got and the way he played the game. That's what I really love about him. So, yes, I really do think that he can come in right away. You know, he young, it's still his rookie year. You give him some time. But I will honestly say before the season is over, I feel like this kid going to dominate. He gonna make some big plays this season, and I say that by the way he play. He play hard, man. When that snap go, when that ball go, he plays hard all the way to the whistle every play. And when you can do that as a young player, I feel like you can make some big plays in this league.
So wait a minute, Marcus. Are you calling him a dog?
Yes.
Are you?
Yes, he's a dog.
A dog knows a dog.
Man, a real dog. Yes, you know a dog.
My
when you
goodness,
see
right there. That is somebody go tell Darius. Markus Golden just called him a dog.
Yes, man. Yes, he got what it takes, man, and I'm excited. As a fan from Mizzou and now, of course, for the Cardinals, I'm excited to see a kid get out there. I can't wait, man. I'm excited.
Hey, motor knows motor. That's all I know.
Right.
And I also know this Cardinals defense has been ascending. It's been improving, and you hit zoom out. It gives you a lot of belief because you know you have weapons on offense. You know you have the quarterback, especially based on the last few weeks. Here's what Jonathan Gannon had to say recently, just knowing what to do, this team learning to win games.
Yeah. We know what we have to do to win and keep those controllables in our favor, and we're handling those right now. But they know that the last however many weeks we've gotten some wins. They know they got to do it all over again or they will lose, and we will lose. And so they know what it takes to put themselves and give themselves a chance to win.
That's why I'm not worried about this, Paulie. I really am not. The bye week happening when it is. I think this is a mature football team because they went out and they found the guys who think the correct way, and they bring them into the locker room. Mm-hmm. Dogs, as we continue to talk about it. I don't think they're going to come back here and go, oh, we're 6-4, and oh my goodness, we're on top of the NFC. That's not who they're targeting. That's not who they're going out and getting and bringing into the locker room. That's not the guy who thinks that way. And that's the reason why I'm bullish on this. It's coming at a perfect time to buy, where they can settle a little bit, get healthy, and then come back with a clear understanding of what it is they need to do and why they're in the position They are, and I love that.
Regroup, reset, and then put another 200 yards rushing on the Seattle Seahawks, who are bottom 5 in rush D. That's our motto around here. When you go to Seattle, still one of the loudest venues in the league, wouldn't you say?
Yes, for sure.
What is that challenge like as a player when you go into Seattle?
You know it's going to be loud. It's a challenge, man. I hate to say that because I hate to give their fans that much credit, but it is loud there. I don't know if it's because of how the stadium is built, but man, but as players, you get excited for that, especially being on the Cardinals and going to play Seattle. That's like a rival game. That's big time. So the energy going to be high. The guys going to be ready. So I'm pretty sure the noise from the fans won't be a big deal at all for the guys.
Yeah, if nothing else, it guards against any sort of energy letdown. Because you walk in, I mean, it is you against the world when you walk into that venue.
Yes. I remember me and Chandler used to talk about that. We couldn't wait to go there and play Seattle, man. So there was some great battles. I know those guys going to have some fun out there.
Marcus, we really enjoyed it. Appreciate the time.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Marcus.
you, brother. Thank you.
Hey, special thanks as always, Jim Alejandro, Cody Fincher, Matt Lazarus, for Ron Wolfley on Paul Calvisi. Once again, 7 games to go, 4 games in the division. 2 of the next 3 against Seattle, and a road game, by the way, a marquee matchup at Minnesota. That could be big in the NFC. All straight ahead. Special thanks to everyone. It is the Big Red Rage presented by Santan Ford and Gilbert. We are Santan Ford.
You've been listening to the Big Red Rage, presented by Santan Ford and Gilbert. Right on the price, right on the corner of the Santan 202 freeway in Val Vista. The Rage is brought to you by Arizona Cardinals Podcasts. Visit azcardinals.com/podcast.
We're going to see a little Big Red Rage football right here.
This has been an exclusive presentation of the Arizona Cardinals Football Club.